Blue has shown us in these last couple of years, he don't do nothing but drop heat. Blue's had a long, eventful career. Matter of fact, in the late 2000s, I actually had him as my top 2 or 3 rapper on the planet. His 2007 Below the Heavens is a classic. Then in a tale almost as old as hip-hop itself, he signs to a label. And matter of fact, Jordan Peele could write a horror movie on how niggas will sign to a label and it derail their career. But he signs to a label, the projects get a little hit or miss. But fast forward, he leaves the label and instantly back to being one of the best rappers on the planet. He's on a ridiculous 5-year runs where every project he's put out, if it's an EP, it's one of the best EPs of the year. And if it's a full-length album, it's an album of the year contender. This time he's teaming up with a super unique, very versatile Real Bad Man. It's a duo that looks sick on paper. I'm ready to see how it turn out. Let's get to it.
Oh yeah. I smoke a marijuana leaf when I wanna think and drink 40 water like it's coming out the sink. Keep pouring, hit a 4-pointer from the corner and keep scoring.
Yo, Real Bad Man is going crazy. I wasn't ready for this. I don't even know if I should call this a beat. This is like a musical composition. There's a lot going on already. I heard some harps in there, but you got these descending horns. This is tough.
Since enormous sun couldn't outshine me for 3 mornings, I let him get the 4th to beat boredom. Chief Morton, head of police forces and a TP warrior, put together forever glorious.
Yo, that is fire, dog. I like that slick brag. I outshine the sun 3 mornings, let him get the 4th just to beat boredom. The way that he phrased that and make it fit this boredom rhyme scheme is fire. But then I love that more chief than police forces line, police chief or Indian TP warrior, Indian chief. Niggas floating right now.
Couldn't copy my ID with CD recorders, camcorders, or the powers of Mystique and Forge. Combine the force just to fortify for a mortal god to cross the borderline. Of course, you tried.
Yo, this is a rap clinic, dog. He's had technically 4 different rhyme schemes, but over the course of those rhyme schemes, he's honed in on 2 particular sounds. That ink sound, the opening rhyme scheme played with that sound, and now the internal rhyme scheme is using that sound. And then that boredom sound where he's had 3 different rhyme schemes with it. He's had that warrior rhyme scheme which focused on that or sound, and now this fortified rhyme scheme that focused on that sound. Nigga is spazzing right now.
Couldn't copy my ID with CD recorders, camcorders, or the powers of Mystique and Forge. Combine the force just to fortify for a mortal god to cross the borderline. Of course, you tried and died. Why? Yo, I love Blue's style of rapping where he'll take one motif and just keep going with it. Basically, he's saying you can't copy my style with magic, and then he took that whole motif and turned it into this spirit ghost scheme right here. Still, you couldn't fuck with me in the same menage a trois. I can't lie, like I take a truth serum right before I ever sign my name across the dotted line or drink a lot of wine. We could go toe for toe line.
Yo, this nigga gotta relax. He's been doing this other thing where he'll have one setup and create multiple punches off of it. The format be I do blank like blank, and then it'll be 3 different metaphors that fit with the setup. So right here, I can't lie like I took a true serum or like I drank a lot of wine. Cause you know how niggas be when they get a little alcohol in their system.
Didn't want to, but I had to. Real Bad Man brought out the bearer of the bad news.
Yo, that's vintage Blue right there. I think him and Bad Man left Earth on that intro. Yo, Bad Man has impressed me more and more each time I heard him. Or I guess it's them. Not in like the they, them, pick your pronouns type way, as in it's multiple niggas, you know, gotta clarify. But it's like they pluck them horns straight from an orchestra. Then the strings come in heavy every like 4 bars. Blue lost his mind. Rhyme schemes were great from start to finish, but what he was doing in them opening rhyme schemes and how he was interlinking different rhyme schemes was crazy. Several standout punches, and he'll just take a punch and keep going with it. Plus his wording's so smooth, he's able to pull off all these punches back to back while keeping the same intricate rhyme scheme. But yeah, that take one punch and keep going with it, like what he said, you can't copy my style like CDs or camcorders. Or then he went in this super elaborate magic description. It's like the lyrical version of, you know, when you see 2 niggas getting a fair fight and one dude win, he knocked the other dude down, knock him out, whatever. Okay, cool, that was fair. But then you see the dude go over there and kick him in the head like, okay, that was a fair fight at first, but now you took it overboard. That's how I be feeling with these Blue punches. And the nigga already caught you with the first punch, then he keep punching you while you out cold. Fire song. This is all praises due.
No gods in the earths for all that it's worth. The God is the law with a verse. Part of your hurts. We keep hearts parked at the church.
Yo, he's rhyming almost every single syllable. It's a 4 syllable at the end, but he's playing with that par sound as an internal dog. Come on, man.
Slaughter your worth, all in front of y'all, cause we dirt. God made, but this man made Blake gon' hurt. Leave squirting up blood when we serving up slugs. Blue.
God made, but that man made Blade gon' hurt. He's talking grimy. And then all the God imagery on the opening lines.
Keep the curtains closed, love. Immersed in more drugs, stunts and alcohol.
Another 4 syllable.
But a bug flow tight like a hug.
from a loved one you ain't seen in a while. The green to make you smile. Justice cycle.
That's more the punch already landed. He keep punching. A little tighter than a hug. All right, that got you. And then he carried over to the next bar from a loved one you ain't seen in a while. I like that.
I'll be live in the on-stage performance on the flyer. Professing like Jeremiah, spitting fire like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Sticks and stones break bones, but your poems don't offend me, yo. If any go, I go first. If any know I'm the worst. When Henny pour, I go berserk. Make you put him
he had a separate Henny go 3-syllable rhyme scheme at the beginning of the bar, and then a separate 2-syllable go first rhyme scheme at the end. Rap clinic.
Make you put in my work, church, all praise due. When I spit a second verse like the first, all praise blue.
Man, the versatility from Real Bad Man is so crazy. The production on a project like this or the Pink Seafood album sounds completely different from the work they've done with Boldy James. There's similarities in how much they like live instrumentation, but the whole aesthetic they capture, I love the maximum production on this song, like 2 or 3 different layers of keys. That methodical pace of the bass line gives it this uneasy feeling. The live drums, and then just to show off, they got this vocal sample coming in there. Blues rapping out of his mind, especially on that first verse. I thought that was a stronger verse of the two. The rhyme schemes and lyricism's crazy. Content-wise, it was kind of bipolar between that first and that second verse. Not in a bad way, but he took the theme of it and flipped it in 2 different ways. The all praises due in the first verse was pretty much comparing himself to like godly imagery in a more arrogant, braggadocious way. It led to several slick lines though. And then on that second verse, that all praises due was more in a biblical, uplifting way. Then a couple direct Bible references to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and then to Jeremiah, all from the Bible. Really strong start, both production-wise and rap-wise. It's the golden rule. CL Smooth in 2023.
Time heals everything. God cipher divine said his rhyme. Niggas couldn't catch up with the time. It's a hell I climb will most likely stifle
Way
your
more
mind.
religious
Leave
imagery.
you unable to find me. Like you was blind, I'm designed. Too divine to define. Like you looking through the blinds at the sunshine. You still want mine. You get flooded by
Killing this
automatic percussion
sound.
from the drum line. I'm still front line. And the storm comes rushing in. Knock 'em out for the count 1 to 10. Soon as the bout
This
begins,
guitar is
the bout
disrespectful,
ends.
dog.
And
Because
we
they
about
ain't
to
even
take
need
you
it. Niggas just OD'ing. Beat was already hard.
Knock 'em out for the count 1 to 10. Soon as the bout begins.
The fact that he's adding in the sound effects to go with what Blue is rapping about too, he could put a lot of thought into the production, the storm sound, the boxing sound.
Bout ends, and we about to take you out for another win.
That was the lightest verse on the album so far. I like the rhyme schemes, and I do like the fact that there was more spiritual and religious imagery used as a theme throughout the verse. It just didn't have the standout bars as the first two. Rhyme scheme's pretty good. Not a bad verse.
Coming out to my favorite song with my hoodie on. Say less.
This is so fire. This is so fire. CL Smooth ain't even get a line out, but for Bad News to flip the beat into a boom bap beat to fit CL Smooth style.
This is strap season. Under that pressure, I present a certain set of skills none of y'all can measure. Listen, people know I'm not to be played with. I'm serious. Tripping if I need to be tested or curious.
Yo, he
My
still
power
got
ain't
it.
real, and my title undisputed. Talk they self into not respecting how I do it.
Yo, I think Real Bad Man got several dope production placements. It's probably the best I've heard of. Real Texture beat led by that piano sample, but the guitar coming in on the chorus and then switching up the drums on CL Smooth to go with the more boom bap drums. Blues verse wasn't bad. I just don't think it had the standout lines as the first 2 tracks did. CL Smooth surprised me. I get nervous when modern rappers put rappers from other eras who aren't active anymore, because a lot of times it can sound really dated, but CL Smooth fit right in. His verse had this boxing imagery that played into the chorus. I think he opened up with a really strong rhyme scheme that lost a little bit of steam and got a little basic towards the end of his verse, but I'm impressed with how modern he sounds, and to give him credit, he is pretty timeless even on his 90s and 2000s verses, but you can tell he's intentionally kept up his pen during his IAs. Well, and I guess he had a small little EP with Sky Zoo a few years ago, but other than that, I think it's been well over 15 years since CL Smooth's even been somewhat active. Yeah, a pretty good song. I will say it's the lightest song out of the first 3. This is Aladdin. Yo, what is this beat?
I'm fascinated by someone I'm not. Though we all from the same fucking rock, come earth. Your flesh turns to dirt, introvert. I stay to myself like I'm trying to save myself from myself, and it helps and it's hell.
I like
Being
that
felt, but not
imagery.
feeling yourself against the ropes, niggas. You know who it is when you see me. Grant your wishes and shit like a genie.
Yo, the sound effects on here is OD. I'm assuming most of these effects come from the movie Aladdin.
Coming from the west with the wind, while the wind blows lows and losses. For those who oppose bosses, from Slauson to Hoffman.
Playing with this Austin sound is fire.
Caution, a coffin comes to mind when you rhyme above him. God is him, if not, call him his twin. All from his pen, wrote with all power in his hands.
Yo, I don't know what Real Bad Man is on. Y'all gonna have to let me know. Them distorted keys, the vocal sample, and did those sound effects coming out of nowhere near the chorus. Beat was super out of the box. It sounded like something influenced by the movie Aladdin. I ain't seen Aladdin in like 25 years, but I think I heard some Aladdin themes through there. The genie, the trying to be someone you're not. And then this was probably the most stream of consciousness verse from Blue. The first verse got particularly a little dark before he got back into his typical brags, but he touched on themes of death in that first verse, threw some brags in there. Second verse, he rapped in this abstract way about growing up in LA, the getting hustled in a basketball game for his shoes. He has some lines about being from there, the Slauson line. And speaking of that Slauson coffin rhyme scheme he got to in that second verse was tough. Rap wise, I do think the first two songs outshine the third and fourth song. Rhyme schemes are dope, don't get me wrong, but it was unreal in the first two songs. But still, overall, this is a dope song. This is Fall of Rome.
The gang bang capital, aim flames accurate, may change your attitude. Maintain your altitude for the
Yo, the horns. Nigga came through with a game show type beat. Who wanna be a thousandaire type beat?
maintain your altitude for them things, leave your mainframe out on you. And you know what I'm about to do. Bounce with a few young bunnies that's down to swoop. Down my city, my city, South Central. I was born in the middle of the city. Crenshaw, Slauson, Western King.
Jefferson to Venice where the Palm Side team swing. I'm like Curtis in his prime multiply. I had you seeing 550s like it's 10 to 6. Coldest angles, pistol grip.
That's almost dumb, but I kind of like it. How you seeing 550s like 10 to 6, 550 on the clock. Then he had the I'm Curtis multiplied, 50 Cent multiplied. So that's where the 550s come in.
Dark side of the moon where most of mines come from. We don't run, never ran. Get the girl, take the money and post. From my granny's poach, I done seen the most miracles. Moments
I
unforgettable.
like how he's playing with his Mo sound. They all putting you right there in them LA hoods.
Talk nice, talking twice, that's an easy no. Fuck around, lay around.
He
Do
is
or die,
slow,
kill
yeah.
the code.
The essays, rep 13, I'm dirt clean. My name got mud on it, the pavement got blood on it. In a city where the ghetto means to see, you could get blazed with heat. Sunsets take on a different meaning when you claim the streets, but think about it for a
That's a fire line. Sunsets take on a different meaning when you claim the streets. Sunset to go and go down, or suns set the gang suns in, which played that MS-13 line. He had to open the verse.
The blazing beast since ill flavor DRT was sent to deliver the message till we all free. Palm trees, but beneath the genocide, we finna ride, just hit a lick, but then I slide.
Yo, that's a pretty good track. The blaring horns was a sick backdrop for it. I ain't got no scouting reports on all the niggas on this track not named Blue, but niggas kind of brought it. I don't know who was who. Blue in the last verse were neck and neck for best verse on the track. That Sunset line was fire. Blue had the best rhyme schemes. I thought he had a lot of great imagery to growing up in LA on his verse. The same as dude on the fourth verse. If I had to pick the one who had the best verse, I'd probably slightly edge Blue. I think his rhyme scheme is just head and shoulders above everybody else. But the fourth verse is right up there with it. Third verse was third best. His rhyme schemes were good, and all four guys did a good job of painting how it was growing up in LA. And then second verse, even though I think that was the lightest on here, I don't think it was a bad verse. That 550 slime was cool. Pretty good track overall. This is The Hurt.
BLU, profit of profits. I don't got ends and my pockets are thin. Back then I was copping the hot shit. The whip got rims, the hemp, the drink, then sank in toxics.
Yo, he's going back to back with his 2-syllable profit rhyme scheme at the end of the bar, but then he has this alliteration holding him that is sound in the middle of the bar.
Clout shit, it's not like I wasn't bout shit. Wasn't bout it cause I didn't do it. I had better options. First I was doubting my way out. Midlife crisis, no more time in the playhouse. Only matter of time in a rhyme for I break out. Got the plan laid out. Fuck a stakeout, grenade a house. It's funny how the money get when around knows. Yo, I could've owned a home by now, but I don't. And some say at this rate, I probably won't. Yo, I'm going on 40. My prime done come and gone, but no, face it, life ain't great for everybody. Used to be the brokest. Now I'm the oldest at the party.
Man, phenomenal song. This is up there with Bad News. All praises due as one of the best songs on here. Might be my favorite. Those verses, even though he he wasn't talking about anything particularly traumatic, that was one of the realest verses I've heard in a minute. Everything that he's accomplished with the rhyme scheme still applies to this song, but that narrative that he painted where he took music and contrasted on that first verse, one with pursuing a street lifestyle versus pursuing music, but also how he pursued his music. He described this internal conflict of should his music reflect the environment around him. Even though it's something he grew up with, that wasn't something that he was diving in at that moment. But then that second verse, in a genre where all you hear is about how successful people are and how much money someone makes, he got really real with facing the fact that he's aging in the music industry. He's dealing with that doubt of, is he past his prime? Did he blow opportunities in the past? And then everything came full circle when he contrasted his retirement with retirement knocking, where if he pursued that other lifestyle, death could be knocking. And then if the lyrics weren't enough, that beat was crazy. That soul sample was good enough to be the whole beat, but then for him to throw in those chops, and then he had the modulation in the beat, song was crazy. This is Hebrews with Planet Asia. The organs in the background, the vocals.
Like Moses told the Hebrews, the land of milk and honey is home and I can lead you. I got a story of creation I could read you, and from Adam and Eve grew the original people. More faithful to life than my hands are to my mind by putting faith in God's design. Deep. I used to be intrigued as a child about the stories of a man who lives in the clouds.
Enter the plane of the fifth stages of consciousness. No spookism, myths, or nonsense is intertwined with minds. I shine, solar divine. The universe was born in the mind, and so was I. 76 trillion I observed. Respected into how scientists started with Sumerian text, and now my intellect is spreading through the many branches.
Yo, I can't overstate how great Real Bad Man has been on this project. Nigga been the star of the show. If him and Blue is Bron and Wade, Real Bad Man been Bron. Planet Asia came through like Chris Bosh though. That nigga had the best feature verse on the album so far. The whole song had this narrative of Blue talking about his upbringing in the church. That first verse laid the scene for everything, but it was lyrically the lightest verse. And then the second verse was him starting to question everything when it came to the religion that he grew up on. He left the ending somewhat open-ended. He didn't say where he landed, but I'm guessing based on Planet Asia's verse and something like the Black Hebrew Israelite sphere. But regardless, Planet Asia came through with that spiritual imagery seeped all through his verse, and then the rhyme schemes, fire. That nigga straight floated. The alliterations with it, he played with that I sound for pretty much the whole verse. Then the B, you start with that vocal sample over that distant organ. Then you get the beat change to another vocal sample that had those bright keys, giving it this more ethereal, spacey vibe to it. Much as I like the rapping on that song, I think I like the beat even better. But that's another tough song. This is More Bad News.
You can find me in a Cadillac, flipping through tracks like an acrobat, battle raps back in my Los Angeles habitat. Ratchet tap.
Bag to bag with his 3-syllable rhyme scheme, and then he'll just randomly add some more ass sounds in there.
Add some track. Babies born, babies torn from life. Life goes on. Despite the norm, this is normal life. Born in strife.
Facts.
Where the police force abort your rights, force your fight. Just to take away your mortal flight. Systemic racism trying to claim victims, but we ain't having none of that back in the day. Shit again. Dude, you ever wake up
That's
to
a
the
fact.
bad news so bad that it sticks to you like tattoos? That rude Cali killer in the middle of the valley. I'm from South Central. Devout, vigilant mentality where I had a bad beat. Killing the season, knowing we don't want police pushing funk in our region. Know the chaos is unspeakable. Solutions not reachable. Plus, when you go to trial against state, they unbeatable. Leaving you without a choice to even choose. Plus, every time we see the news, we being abused.
Whoo, that's a closer. Man, he ended the album as strong as he started it. Bad Man capped off a nearly flawless 8-song run with these angelic vocals forming the melody, the boom bap drums hitting heavy. Blue did his usual lyrical acrobatics, but it was even doper hearing those lyrical acrobatics paint this scene of LA and just a cycle of violence. He called it bad news, but feeling the whole weight of the system, the street violence, the prison industrial system, police brutality, and then using this More Bad News theme of showing the cyclical nature of it. It's just one thing after the other. Overall, this is a dope EP. This is one of the better EPs of the year. Production-wise, I think this is easily the best produced EP of the year. If you throw in full-length albums, there's a couple of projects that can go toe-to-toe with it, but Real Bad Man was in rare form. With minimalism being the main aesthetic for underground rap right now, it was dope hearing maximalism done really well. the multiple modulations, the vast amount of instruments that he used. And those are elements that I've heard from Real Bad Man before, but how he crafted these beats to really fit Blue's aesthetic, phenomenal. I don't think there was a bad beat on here. Matter of fact, I don't even think it was a pretty good beat on here. All the beats were either really good or great. And then Blue is delivering more of the lyricism that makes this last third of his career the most impressive stretch in his career. The lyricism was always there with Blue, but in these last, call it 5 years, the level of consistency from him has been incredible. The lyricism with how he crafts these intricate rhyme schemes, the way he's able to weave in between different rhyme schemes was fully on display here. I love the punching that he showed on the first few songs, and then the imagery we got on the back half of the album was dope too. One of the only flaws of the album, while I wouldn't call it a weak point, because these songs were still strong, but I do think lyrically the rapping was stronger on the first couple of songs on the album and the last couple of songs on the album, and then in the middle it went more from amazing to this was good rapping. But overall, 8 strong songs. Real Bad Man continues to establish himself as one of the best producers right now, and Blue continues his amazing run of projects.